There's challenges finding financing for most large infrastructure projects these days, but I think that the economic downturn in some respects has created a new opportunity in my mind for community investment in renewable energy projects, because if you can't go to the traditional markets to finance these projects, but you can go to the residents or organizations of Ontario who are always making contributions to their RSPs or making or putting money down into a savings account or in a mutual fund or a penny stock. This type of proposition offers security through a 20-year contract and a reasonable return on investment around 8%, which is what people don't see these days. They see much lower returns and an initial payback of 5 to 7 years. So the opportunity here for in your backyard, solid investments in infrastructure, to me, is a whole new asset class for local investment and community investors. Well, there are several different community power projects underway in Ontario, and as we've learned this morning from this conference, that there's a number of different instruments and ways that communities are trying to raise capital to bring into these projects. But essentially, for a project to be community power, we'd like to see about 50% minimum equity investment by the community, which we call Ontario investors. So we're hoping that the local members of a community, so anybody living within a municipal boundary of a community, would be a sort of Class A investor, where they would get higher dividends and potentially higher proportionate share of control of a project. And then the more common shares would go to province-wide investors who would bring the remaining capital into projects. So for the last 3 years, since 2007, the Community Power Fund has been managing a grant program to support the community power sector in Ontario. And those monies were starting to come to an end, but through the Green Energy Act, we were working with the government on the development of a much more longer-term financing program. And so what the government came up with was the Community Energy Partnership Program. So we will be co-managing that fund with Deloitte, and that will replace the existing Community Power Fund and provide a new financing opportunity for communities really to come to the table and say, is there a viable project to pursue? Is it a good project? Is there community support for the project? Is there grid capacity to move it forward? And they can get to that point in their project development, and then from then go into other areas of finance and try and develop the capital for their projects.